The Room of Desolate Souls. As a seasoned paranormal investigator, I thought I had seen it all, until I stepped foot into the haunting room. The moment I entered, an overwhelming sense of dread washed over me, but curiosity drove me forward. It was an old, dilapidated mansion, and the room I was about to explore was said to be cursed. The locals whispered tales of despair, death, and a lingering malevolence that had trapped the souls of those who dared to enter. With my equipment in hand, I began recording my every step, determined to document the chilling encounters that lay ahead. The air inside the room was thick and suffocating, making it hard to breathe. The walls were adorned with faded paintings, and the once grand furniture now stood in disarray, as if bearing the weight of its tragic past. As I ventured deeper into the room, an unnatural chill gnawed at my bones. The flickering candlelight cast long, unsettling shadows that danced along the walls. Every creak of the floorboards seemed to echo through the silence, heightening my anxiety. My heart raced as I picked up faint whispers that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. Each whisper sounded like the despairing cries of tortured souls, pleading for release from their eternal prison. I tried to shake off the feeling, attributing it to my imagination, but the whispers persisted, growing louder and more insistent with every passing moment. Suddenly, the candle flames flickered wildly, and a deafening gust of wind swept through the room. I felt an otherworldly presence, a malevolence that seemed to claw at my very soul. My body trembled uncontrollably as I stood frozen in terror, unable to comprehend what was unfolding before me. In the corner of the room, I caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure, barely visible in the dim light. It lurked in the darkness, watching, waiting. My instincts screamed at me to flee, but my curiosity and determination kept me rooted in place. I needed to capture evidence of this malevolent force. With a trembling hand, I reached for my EVP recorder, hoping to capture the whispers that seemed to haunt the very air around me. As I pressed the record button, the room grew eerily silent, and the whispers ceased, replaced by an oppressive stillness that was almost suffocating. I felt the temperature drop even further, and my breath became visible in the frigid air. The walls seemed to close in, suffocating me with their unseen presence. My instincts screamed at me to leave, but I knew I couldn't abandon my mission. With every ounce of courage, I asked aloud, "Who are you? What do you want?" The response came in a blood-curdling scream that echoed through the room. The sound was gut-wrenching, filled with anguish and torment. I could feel the weight of 1,000 souls' pain and suffering, and it was overwhelming. As I played back the EVP recording, the screams of agony reverberated through the device, sending chills down my spine. I knew then that I had stumbled upon a malevolent force beyond anything I had encountered before. In a desperate attempt to understand the origin of this haunting, I began researching the history of the mansion. It didn't take long to uncover a dark and harrowing past. Decades ago, the mansion had been a place of unspeakable horrors, where a cruel and sadistic master subjected countless souls to unspeakable torture and suffering. The room I stood in had been the heart of this malevolence, where innocent souls had lost their lives in the most horrific ways imaginable. The cries of their tortured spirits lingered, trapped in a perpetual state of agony, unable to find peace. Night after night, I returned to the haunting room, drawn by an inexplicable force. The malevolent presence grew stronger, its anger and desperation palpable. I knew that I was risking my own sanity, but I couldn't turn away. There was a gnawing need to understand, to offer some form of solace to the tormented souls that cried out in anguish. As the days turned into weeks, I became a shell of my former self. Sleep eluded me, and my thoughts were consumed by the haunting room and its desolate souls. I could feel their presence wherever I went, haunting my every waking moment. The malevolent force that inhabited the room began to target me directly. In the darkness, I could see the shadowy figure watching me, waiting for an opportunity to strike. It would whisper terrible things, planting seeds of doubt and fear in my mind. It wanted to break me, to make me one of its tormented souls. Yet despite the terror that consumed me, my determination to uncover the truth never wavered. I knew I had to find a way to free the trapped souls and put an end to the malevolence that plagued the haunting room. With the help of an experienced medium, I conducted a series of seances in the room, hoping to communicate with the tormented spirits. It was a harrowing experience, as the malevolent energy of the room intensified with every attempt to contact the other side. But then, during one particularly intense seance, something unexpected happened. The medium's voice changed, taking on an eerie, otherworldly tone. She claimed to be channeling the spirits of the desolate souls, and what they revealed sent shivers down my spine. The spirits pleaded for release, for someone to set them free from the eternal torment they endured. They shared their stories of unimaginable suffering and loss, and it became clear that the malevolence that haunted the room was not just a malevolent force, but a collective agony of trapped souls yearning for peace. As the seance continued, the room seemed to come alive with an ethereal presence. The temperature dropped, and the candle flames flickered erratically, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The medium's voice became more desperate, echoing the anguish of the spirits who longed for salvation. I could feel their pain, their fear, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility washed over me. These tormented souls had been trapped in the haunting room for far too long, and it was up to me to break the curse and set them free. With newfound determination, I delved deeper into the mansion's history, unearthing forgotten secrets and ancient rituals that had contributed to the malevolence that now consumed the room. I consulted experts on paranormal phenomena, seeking guidance on how to release the trapped spirits and end the haunting. Armed with knowledge and a newfound purpose, I returned to the haunting room, ready to confront the malevolent force head-on. This time I brought with me artifacts related to the mansion's past, hoping to use them as a conduit to the spirits. As I stepped inside, the atmosphere was charged with an electrifying energy. The spirits seemed to react to my presence, their whispers growing louder and more desperate. With trembling hands, I set up the artifacts in the center of the room, creating a makeshift altar. The room seemed to pulse with anticipation, and a sense of heaviness weighed upon me. I began a solemn ritual, reciting incantations that were said to grant peace to tormented souls. I asked the spirits to forgive the sins of the past and to let go of their pain and anger. As the ritual reached its crescendo, a blinding light enveloped the room and the air crackled with energy. I felt an overwhelming presence, as though 1,000 souls had gathered around me. The malevolent force fought back, trying to cling to its hold over the room, but the power of the spirits seeking release was stronger. In a final surge of energy, the malevolence was pushed back, and a profound calm settled over the room. The haunting whispers were replaced by a peaceful silence, and the temperature returned to normal. I knew then that the trapped souls had finally found their freedom. Exhausted but elated, I stepped out of the haunting room, knowing that I had succeeded in my mission. The mansion felt different, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from its walls. The malevolence that once plagued the room was no more. Word spread throughout the town of my successful endeavor, and the locals were relieved that the curse of the haunting room had finally been broken. The mansion was eventually restored, and the Room of Desolate Souls was preserved as a memorial to the spirits who had found their peace. As I reflect on that harrowing experience, I can't help but feel a sense of awe and humility. I had come face to face with true malevolence, but I had also witnessed the strength of tormented souls seeking release. It was a reminder that in the darkest of places, there can be a glimmer of hope and redemption. Now, whenever I think of the haunting room, I no longer feel fear or trepidation. Instead, I am reminded of the resilience of the human spirit and the power of compassion and understanding. The Room of Desolate Souls taught me that even in the darkest corners of the world, there is a potential for healing and redemption. As I continue my journey as a paranormal investigator, I carry the memory of that haunting room with me, a constant reminder of the profound impact our actions can have on the souls around us. It serves as a testament to the enduring power of empathy and the potential for light to triumph over darkness. And so, I walk forward, ready to face whatever malevolence the world may throw my way. For in the end, it is not the darkness that defines us, but the choices we make to bring light and hope to those who need it most. The Room of Desolate Souls may forever hold its haunting history, but it also holds a story of redemption, of souls finding their way to peace. And in that paradox lies the true essence of the human spirit, to persevere in the face of darkness and to shine brightly in the depths of despair. So the next time you come across a haunted room or a place of malevolence, remember that there is always a glimmer of hope, a chance for redemption. For even in the most desolate of souls, there is a yearning for peace and a longing for release, and it is in our hands to help them find their way. Until then, subscribe to Dr. Quote's storytelling channel and activate the bell. You'll be glad you did. Thank you for watching and see you soon.
Ha ha!